There's a substance hiding in your food right now, and it might be the number one most dangerous health food ingredient in the world. It's not sugar. This time it's not artificial sweeteners. It's not red dye. This one's different because it's not just in the junk food, but it's also in your salad dressing. It's in your protein bars. It's in your heart healthy snacks. And the worst part is once it gets into your body, it just doesn't want to leave. It builds up, it damages your cells, and it can live in you and take up to 600 days just to get rid of half of it. So what am I talking about? Linoleic acid. And even if you've never heard of it, your body is full of it. It's a type of omega-6 fat. And in small amounts, it's technically essential. Your body can't make it. You do need a little bit of this, but that doesn't mean more of it is better. We only need about 1 to 2% of our daily calories from linoleic acid. A small amount, it's easy to get, a handful of nuts or a little drizzle of oil. But the average American today gets 5 to 10% more than that. Most don't even know that they're doing it. So how did this happen? Before 1900, linoleic acid was barely in our diet. Most people ate natural fats, butter, eggs, tallow, coconut oil. We did just fine eating those. But then came the industrial seed oils. Never meant to be foods, and then definitely not our source of oil. They were originally used in soaps. They were used in lubricants for machines. They were used in paint. But in 1911, Procter & Gamble launched Crisco. It's made out of cottonseed oil. It was marketed as a cleaner alternative to lard, a natural fat produced in an animal. It was cheap and it was easy to produce. So then soon after that, manufacturers learned to extract oil from corn and from soybeans and from other seeds and grains. And then it was game over in the 1950s and the 60s. You see, the government and mainstream health experts demonized saturated fats made and naturally produced by God in an animal, not produced in a factory by man, but they told us that that form, butter, was dangerous. They said eggs clogged arteries. And at the same time, food companies replaced natural fats with cheap, refined seed oils. They labeled them as heart healthy. They backed big studies, poured tons of money into it, big headlines, and lobbied Congress to be in cahoots to put this at the forefront. As a result, from 1909 to now, soybean oil consumption has increased 1,000 times more. Linoleic acid went from nearly zero in our diet to up to 20% of the daily calories we consume. Let that sink in. Something we were never meant to eat in large amounts is now the most consumed fat in America. It's in almost every processed food. If you are on the inside of a grocery store, which I teach you to shop the outside of the grocery store, on the inside is where it lives. Chips, crackers, frozen meals, mayonnaise, salad dressing, granola bars, even the low carb and the keto friendly foods are loaded with it. It's used in almost every restaurant, even if the food is grilled or light. And even worse, restaurants reheat this oil over and over again to fry things. What that does is break down the seed oil, which is very fragile and unstable, and it becomes even more toxic. Foreshadowing, I'm going to discuss that one a little bit more later. And so here's the most shocking truth. Unlike almost every other thing you eat, linoleic acid doesn't just pass through. It gets stored in your fat tissue and your cell membranes. One study found that it makes up 21.5% of the stored fat in the average body. That number has increased 9% since 1959. That's a 136% increase. It's one of the only foods that when you eat it, your body does not get rid of it, at least not quickly. Once it's in you, it stays. In fact, research shows linoleic acid can take up to 680 days to get half of what you ingested out of your body. This means it can take approximately 6 years to replace 95% of the linoleic acid in the body with proper healthy fats that are supposed to be there. So hopefully I've convinced you that you don't need to be pouring this oil into your pan and eating it. You don't need to be buying it at the store in packaged goods and crackers and chips to have it build up in your body for the next 5 years. And this stuff is everywhere. It's in the food by a lot of the brands that you trust, the snacks that you give your kids, the bars that you eat before or after the gym. I even catch Nurse Livingood sometimes as it sneaks into our cart. She's like, gosh, I missed it, because it's everywhere. And if you're not actively avoiding it, you're probably eating it every single day. So now the big question is, what's it doing to your body after it gets in there? And how the heck do you get it out? So linoleic acid gets absorbed into your cells. And that's where the real damage begins. The body is made of trillions of cells, and each cell has a layer of fat, the purple that you see here, around it. This outer layer is called the cell membrane. It's not just structural, it has a huge job for every single cell. It controls what gets in and what gets out. This is your border for every cell. And it needs to be tight, and it needs to be specific as far as allowing in nutrients and exiting out toxins. This cell membrane helps cells communicate to each other. This cell membrane helps the body adapt and respond to stress. But here's what most people don't realize. Your body builds that membrane, that purple part, with the fats that you eat. If you eat healthy fats like olive oil or avocado oil, you build strong, stable cells. And that's when nutrients can flow in and toxins and waste can flow out. But if you're eating damaging fats like seed oils and you damage this outer membrane and it's built from these faulty fats, then nutrients can't get in and waste can't get out at the level that they should. And you build weak and unstable cells. It's like building a house out of drywall on the outside and the inside, instead of building the outside out of brick. It will look fine at first, but under stressful conditions, when the storms come, that drywall is going to begin to crumble and it will not protect the house the way that it should. Similarly, that linoleic acid breaks down very easily. It oxidizes, it gets damaged, especially under stress. And that breakdown leads to cellular damage. Cellular damage is what triggers your body's defense system to create inflammation. Inflammation, a little bit of it, not a problem. Like if you scrape your knee or you roll your ankle, it inflames because it's healing that area. It's supposed to do that. But when it happens every single day at a cellular level, this is where the inflammation becomes chronic and is tied to 98% of all disease, shows Time magazine years ago on its cover. That sets the stage for nearly every major disease: heart disease, diabetes, cancers, Alzheimer's, kidney disease, liver disease. In fact, 2 of the conditions driven by chronic inflammation are ulcerative colitis and Crohn's disease. And one study, studying people with ulcerative colitis, people with high linoleic acid intake had a 2.5 times greater risk of having the condition. In another study, linoleic acid triggered a 900% increase in inflammatory chemicals linked to Crohn's disease. That's not a mild flare-up, by the way. That's a wildfire in your gut. But it's not just your gut that gets hit. Inside every cell, there's an engine, the mitochondria. That's where your body burns fat and makes energy. But linoleic acid gums up that engine. The cell can't burn fat the right way, so it starts storing fat instead. This leads to a congestion in the cells, and it leads to insulin resistance in your system. When your cells stop responding to insulin properly, that means higher blood sugar levels, more fat storage mode, and a slower fat burning mode or a slower metabolism. In fact, one study found that people who consumed more linoleic acid had higher fasting insulin levels, which means more belly fat and a lower ability to oxidize or burn the fat. So if you feel like your metabolism is broken or like the weight just won't come off, this is exactly why. And where does all that damage start to pile up? In your liver. Your liver is your filter. It processes food, fats, toxins, everything. It has to isolate all the foreign invaders. When your body is full of linoleic acid, 20% of the calories that you consume, the liver becomes a dumping ground. It gets overloaded, inflamed with all the extra inflammation and oxidation that's happening from the bad cell walls. And when the liver's overwhelmed, it can't detox properly. It can't burn a fat efficiently. Energy levels crash. And this is how millions end up with non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, the fastest growing condition on the planet. It's affecting 1 out of every 3 adults. Most don't even know they have it. That's the tricky part about this, is the silent buildup of linoleic acid, putting extra taxing burden on the liver, 1 in 3 adults in this perfect storm with hardly any warning sign. Here's the worst part. Linoleic acid doesn't just go away. It gets locked into the fat cells, locked into the liver tissue, locked into those cell membranes. Between 1959 and 2008, linoleic acid stored in body fat more than doubled from 9% to 21%. And once it's in there, as we showed, it takes your body up to 600 days just to clear out half of it. So if you're eating it regularly, even in small amounts, you're stacking it up faster than your body can get rid of it. And if you're tired and inflamed and stuck in a weight loss plateau, if your skin's changing, if your energy's dipping, and if something just feels off, this fat could be the reason. Because you're not just eating it, you're building your body out of it. It doesn't come through. The first step to get to work on releasing these toxins, check out my liver cleanse resource below. Help out the main filter that has to deal with all of these. And then we're going to get into how you avoid, starting today, putting them into your body in the first place. So liver cleanse, link below. Check that out. Step 2, let's stop it at the source. It's hiding everywhere though. We talked about this earlier, how the seed oils got into our food supply, how they're cheap, how they're flavorless, how they're sold as heart healthy. That's how linoleic acid went from being a background ingredient to one of the most consumed fats in America. But here's the part that most people miss. You don't need to be cooking with seed oils to be eating them. In fact, most people are getting the linoleic acid without ever even realizing it. It's not just a bottle of vegetable oil that you keep in your cupboard. It's already in the food that you're buying, the packaged goods, the food you're eating every single day. So let's break down where it's hiding. There are 6 major seed oils that are flooding the system right now. Here they are, in no particular order. Number 1 is soybean oil. It's 55% linoleic acid. Number 2 is corn oil, 58% linoleic acid. Number 3 is canola oil, also known as rapeseed oil. It's 19% linoleic acid. Cottonseed oil, which we talked about earlier, 54%. Sunflower oil, when it is high linoleic sunflower oil, there is a version that's high oleic. That one's okay. But high linoleic sunflower oil is up to 75% linoleic acid. And then finally, safflower oil, up to 78%. Safflower and sunflower are found in so many different foods. These oils are cheap, they're flavorless, they're highly refined, and they're used in everything. 80% of processed foods in major US grocery stores contain at least one of these oils. Chips, crackers, cookies, granola bars, protein bars, peanut butter, dips, sauces, mayos, frozen dinners, veggie burgers, meat substitutes, even snacks labeled keto, organic, gluten-free. That's why it's easy to miss them. Ingredients rarely say linoleic acid on the label. Instead, they say vegetable oil. They say canola blend, may contain one or more of the following oils. The labels are vague on purpose. Just because something says cold-pressed, light, non-GMO, or even organic does not mean it's safe. Example, organic canola oil. It's still canola oil. It's still linoleic acid. Sunflower oil. Got to be careful. It needs to say organic or high oleic to make sure that it doesn't contain lots of linoleic acid. And it's not just store-bought food. It's what you're eating when you go out to eat, especially at restaurants like fast food chains. Most cook everything in seed oil. It's way cheaper than butter. Most customers never ask what oil they use. But here's the problem. That oil isn't just used once. It gets reheated again and again and again for days or even weeks. And each time it's reheated, that linoleic acid, that fat, breaks down even more and releases something even more toxic, an oxalum, oxidized linoleic acid metabolite. These are the toxic byproducts that drive cell damage, trigger inflammation, contribute to plaque buildup in your arteries. Higher levels of oxalums have been found in people with heart disease. So if you're eating fried food, grilled meats, sauteed anything from a restaurant, you're probably getting a dose of oxalums. But here's the kicker. The USDA estimates that the average American gets 15 to 20 grams of linoleic acid per day. That's 10 times more than your body was designed to handle. And remember, this fat doesn't pass through your body. It stores it. It builds it out in the cells. It holds onto it for years. So even if you've stopped using seed oils at home, if you're still eating processed foods, if you're still eating out, if you're not checking labels, then you're still getting it. And your body is still paying the price. This is why I'm slowing down in this video and so adamant about it, so that you get this one change into your lifestyle. It is so incredibly important. So what do we use instead? And how do we start rebuilding our health? We've already talked about those 6 oils flooding the food supply: soybean, corn, canola, sunflower, safflower, cottonseed. Those are the worst offenders. There's also other ones to avoid: rice bran, peanut oil, mustard oil. All of those are high in linoleic acid that your body doesn't need more of. If you're still putting them in, your body doesn't stand a chance to heal. So step 1 is getting them out. Step 2 is replacing them with healthy alternatives. So let's start with the oils that I trust, the ones that I personally use and recommend. Extra virgin olive oil, one of the healthiest oils on the planet. I only use cold pressed and extra virgin, not refined. Really good for salad dressings, dips, light sauteing. Not ideal for high heat cooking, but it has been shown to help support healthy inflammation levels, support heart health, protect the brain, lower your CRP. That is your C-reactive protein. That is a key marker of inflammation. If you do not know and understand C-reactive protein, this is the #1 predictor of 30-year heart attack risk, especially for women. Watch my video. I'll link it below if you do not understand CRP and how important it is to protect it. Second oil, avocado oil. This one's really good for higher cooking and heating. It's great for roasting, grilling, stir frying. So it's higher in oleic acid, so it makes it more stable and heart friendly. Coconut oil, also good at high heat. Doesn't oxidize very easily. It's made from medium chain triglycerides. They burn quickly for energy. They fuel the brain. It can support fasting. It can support low carb diets. Studies show that MCTs are good for burning fat, and they help you feel more full. Number 4, let's go all the way back to what we were doing before all these seed oils were introduced. Grass-fed butter, ghee, real butter, back on the table. Ghee is more of a condensed version of the butter. It's rich in vitamin A and D and E, great antioxidant. Vitamin K2, really good for your arteries. Butyrate, incredibly important for your gut, your brain, and your metabolism. If you're sensitive to dairy, ghee might be a great option because it's clarified, so the milk solids are removed, some of the things that some people are more sensitive to, easier to digest. Swapping your oils is a critical first step. But if linoleic oil is already stored in your fat cells, in your liver, in your tissues, you need more than just a better bottle in your pantry. You need to start actively pushing it out. So here's how to speed that process up. When you have the least amount of food in your body, do some movement. It's called fasted movement. Go for a light walk in the morning before eating. Get a workout in before eating. When your body burns the most fat, to tap into the most fat burning mode, some people skip breakfast for this and they do their exercise and maybe they'll have a little bit of liquid or a little bit of healthy fat for breakfast. They don't put carbohydrates in. It keeps them in fat burning mode longer so you can burn up and release some of that fat into the system. And that will include linoleic acid that's stored in the fat tissue. Use an omega-3 fish oil. One study showed that people who fasted and took a high-quality fish oil of omega-3 had 27% less linoleic acid in their cell membranes in just 2 weeks. They had higher levels of protective omega-3s, EPA and DHA, which are only found in concentrated fish. You got to be very wary of protecting that fish oil so it does not oxidize. There's a link below if you need a quality omega to put in your body, the one that I use. Bottom line, omega-3s help replace damaged fats with healthy ones so that your body can rebuild. It just needs the right materials and it needs the right conditions. You're not going to get rid of it overnight. When's the best time to plant a tree? Well, 10 years ago would have been the best time. Could it be full grown by now? But the next best time is today. Every better decision that you make, every swap, every label you check, every walk you take, every omega-3 that you put into your body starts tipping the scale back into your favor. 1% reduction in linoleic acid in the body can be massive. But let me swing it back around to the liver. There's one more catch that most people don't realize or don't go deep enough in. As you start cleaning up your diet and losing the weight, your fat cells begin to release linoleic acid, like I just talked about, and other toxins. into the bloodstream. And that's where things can backfire. Why? Because every pound you lose, studies show that toxins can increase in your bloodstream by as much as 4%. And they can stay in your system for over a year. So if you don't take the right steps to detox your body while you're losing the weight, while you're releasing this toxic fat and these toxins, your body will do the only thing it can do to protect you. It'll put the weight back on. It'll store those toxins and those fats back in a pocketed area, usually a love handle, and you put the weight right back on. So I'll explain how this works in my next video. I'm going to walk you through exactly what you can do to take the weight off, burn up the linoleic acid, release it from your system along with toxins, and support your liver in that process to get these things out of the system for good. I'll include a link to that next video here. Click there to watch it, and I'll see you over at that one.